Save loading on the first tick of the first map of the game lets you move for 10 ticks before starting the cutscene. If you keep saving and loading every 10 ticks, you could theoretically complete the entire first map of the game before you even get out of bed. Thanks to user Fizz for letting me know that this camera in Chamber 18 is the only camera on a metal wall to have a Funk portal detector. This means that it is the only camera on a metal wall that will actually fall off if a portal is opened behind it. The collision for the angled surfaces in Chamber 12, Escape 01, and Escape 02 are still present and solid before they rotate into position. On the Xbox and PS3 releases of the game, the center crosshair is off-center. Another interesting thing about those console releases is that there are actually more white walls in this ending room of Chamber 12 than there are in the PC version. This oversight lets you skip the puzzle with a tricky shot. One last fact about the Xbox and PS3 versions. Did you know that you are able to clip the companion cube as well as every other entity through the Incinerator in Chamber 17?
More quickly than any tests.
To figure this out, the map was decompiled and ported to PC, and with plugins we can clearly see that the left side of the Incinerator opens up when touched. If you hold against certain walls while on a horizontally moving platform, it can actually move from underneath you. Most anti-softlock doors will play a line of dialogue and then open a door. However, this anti-softlock trigger in Chamber 11 doesn't even wait for the dialogue and just deletes the door as soon as you get softlocked. If you activate the softlock trigger in 11 while the button to open that door is still active, it will make the button start ticking endlessly. If you push up against the bottom half of these metal doors in Escape 01, they will actually open. Chambers 6 and 16 are the only maps that contain these neat beta observation room monitors. In Chamber 19, you can actually place a portal on the underside of this slope, and with some tricky movement, you can stand on top of these pumps and get a good view of the underside of this room. In every elevator, there is an extremely small gap less than 1/10 of a centimeter wide that you're actually able to shoot a portal through. This is called a Pancake Shot, and can only save upwards of about 0.2 seconds in certain individual level speedruns. In Chamber 19, when you open this door, it'll actually go into the wall. If you put a portal on this wall, open the door, then remove the portal, the door will become offset from the doorframe. In Chamber 16, there is an observation room that is completely dark, despite the textures appearing to be lit up. This is probably just an oversight by the developers. You can temporarily interact with the collision of entities that are on the other side of a portal. In the first map of the game, if you save and load on the very first tick that the map loads, the cup on the little table will fall off and break. This is because the cup is very slightly raised above the table, and when you save and load, the physics engine gets reset, causing the cup to fall in a slightly different way. Did you know that while playing one of the 3 challenge modes, you can use glitches to hit a trigger under the elevator at the start of the map that resets your score to 0. If you do it correctly, you can finish every challenge with no steps, portals, or time. When a prop is crushed by one of these doors, it changes the prop's collision group, letting it pass through other entities for about 5 seconds. In Chambers 11 and 15, you can use this glitch to preserve radios and other props to the next chamber by bringing them through the fizzler. All of the triggers in this first orb puzzle room in Chamber 15 do not extend to the west wall of the room. This allows you to walk and shoot through the leftmost part of the fizzler. My theory for why this happened is that they had to make the room 1 tile longer last minute to accommodate for this weird corner window. Did you know that you can put a portal in the center of this weird ring on the ceiling at the start of GLaDOS' chamber? Placing yourself or props through the portal will keep them held in that area. However, removing your portal will cause them all to fall down at the same time. If you take this cube from the pipe that you shoot with the rocket turret and then drop it out of bounds, it will start to spawn hundreds of cubes all at once, causing them to rapidly shoot out of the pipe and lag your game. The reason this happens is that when most cubes fall out of bounds, they get deleted and a new one is spawned on the same tick. However, for this specific cube in Escape 01, there is no flag to delete the cube, so it just starts spawning new cubes on every single tick. The cube from Chamber 4 cannot activate either of the buttons in Chamber 5. This is because the cube in Chamber 4 has a different name than the cubes in Chamber 5. If you watched my previous fact video, you may notice that this works the exact same way as the turret in Chamber 16. Time for an Energy Orb speed round. Did you know that you are able to fully or partially get inside of almost every orb catcher in the game that's on a wall? However, you can't get into this one in Chamber 8. This is because it happens to be the only wall orb catcher that's totally blocked by a clip brush. If you save and load while a portal is placed in such a way that the portal's hitbox is inside of the orb catcher's hitbox, the orb catcher will be displaced once you move your portal. This is similar to the door glitch in Chamber 19. The orb catcher in Chamber 18 Advanced is the only casual orb catcher in the game to have no empty room or indent behind it. You can even place a portal on it. You can also place a portal behind this orb launcher in Chamber 15. Did you know that if you go on top of the orb catcher in Chamber 18 after finishing the puzzle, you can see a small part of the activated orb catcher clipping through the ceiling? In Chamber 18 and Chamber 18 Advanced, there is an invisible orb launcher out of bounds that rotates 90 degrees very slowly when you touch it. Deleting this element in Hammer has no effect on the puzzle. This probably means that it was just left over from development. If you stand on the front of this orb launcher in Chamber 18 until it changes direction, it will actually activate some sort of mode where it will change direction based on where you're standing. Why this happens is currently unknown. When you stand inside of a portal in just the right spot, you can actually get a fast-moving energy orb to bounce off of you without dying. Did you know that if you go out of bounds in Chamber 15, you can see 3 orb catchers next to these glowing red dots? These are actually the references for the orb catchers in the puzzle. Normally, these are supposed to be deleted after the orb catchers in the puzzle are spawned. However, these specific ones in Chamber 15 get left behind due to the Don't Remove Template Entities flag being checked. Just like their puzzle counterparts, these can also be activated with an energy orb. This marks the end of the energy orb speed round. Back to the facts. There are actually 3 observation rooms that have untextured floors. There's 2 in Chamber 17 that are fairly easy to see, and there's 1 in Chamber 18 that you can get to with a tricky fling. These 3 glass walls at the end of Escape E01 can be broken with a prop that has a lot of momentum. Thanks to YouTube commentator The Cake Tubby for letting me know that the removed dialogue line in Escape E01 will only play when the game is in Spanish.
Vale. Ahora sí que voy a matarte.
Trust me, I checked every single supported language and it only played in Spanish. Did you know that out of the 8 keyboards in Chamber 19, only 1 of them has collision with other entities? In Escape E01, there's this claw that moves up when you hit E on it to show you where to go. However, you have to actually be looking at the vent for it to move up. If you haven't looked at the vent yet and try to interact with it, the funk door that moves the claw will actually move left out of bounds. However, this is invisible to the player. Another neat thing about this claw is that if you activate it, then quickly move to this part of the next room, you can actually see the claw rising up through the wall, and you can even ride it. In Chamber 13, the majority of the east wall in the puzzle room is covered with an invisible wall that's designed to keep the player from jumping on the metal blocks that stick out. These stair pieces in this room in Escape E01 get held really far away from the player if you try to pick them up. This is because, for some reason, the origin of the prop is really far away from the prop itself. Standing on rotating objects such as doors or fans will cause the player's view to rotate. If you jam a door with a prop, you can endlessly rotate as the door isn't able to finish turning. Did you know that you can place a portal on the grating under the rising staircase in Chamber 14? When holding a prop such as a cube in front of a turret, the turret will start shooting it, letting you use it like a shield. However, when you put the prop down, as long as it is still blocking the turret's view, the turret will actually stop shooting, functioning more like a wall than a shield. If you're holding a prop while going through a portal, the prop will teleport to where you're looking if there's available room in front of you. This is probably in the game as a small quality of life feature for certain puzzles. However, this mechanic can be heavily abused to clip props through thin walls, such as the companion cube in 17, or getting turrets past the fizzler in chamber 16. In chamber 17 Advanced, you can place a ball on top of the slanted orb catcher, and if you jump on it enough in just the right spot, it can actually get pushed into the orb catcher. In older builds of the game, you're actually able to do 2 jumps on 2 consecutive ticks. This can be combined with accelerated hops to gain an insane amount of speed compared to modern builds. For more info on how to do accelerated hops in Portal, check out this tutorial by Ria. The first turret in chamber 16 has 2 triggers on its left and right that will knock it over when you try to sneak past it. Did you know that when playing with developer commentary, you are able to warp to the next commentary node by right-clicking and pressing E at the same time? Now, this does also work in every other Source game with developer commentary. However, I'm including it on this list because the earliest known footage of this mechanic being discovered was actually in Portal. When you shoot a camera off of a wall, there are 2 blurry dots that get put on the part of the wall where it was detached. But did you know that hidden in the files, there is a decal for the detached camera that goes unused in the game? And for my final Portal 1 fact, during the escape sequence, you may know that there are hard to reach level transition triggers that load the previous map, allowing you to backtrack. However, did you know that every time you re-enter the same map, it will actually spawn a new radio, letting you infinitely duplicate radios? This is especially weird in Escape 01, where every new radio ends up being spawned out of bounds. The reason this happens is that, in the game's code, there are predetermined locations for where a radio should be spawned when entering a map. However, for maps that already had radios in them pre-transmission received achievement, such as Chambers 0, 16, 18, and Escape 01, the position and angle is listed as 000. If the game finds that there is a radio with 000 as its position and angle, it will instead search for pre-existing prop_physics radios. If it finds one, the game takes the positional data of that radio, deletes the original radio, and spawns a new radio with the update item to entity type. When you enter Escape 01 for a second time, it can't find a pre-existing radio to replace as it has already been replaced and deleted, so it just spawns a new radio at the position listed in the code, which is out of bounds at 000. I just wanted to start off by giving a huge thanks to Uncrafted Name, Zachary, and other members of the Portal Speedrunning Discord for helping me get a deeper understanding of some of the facts in this video. I also wanted to say that I've been reading every comment, and I cannot stress enough how thankful I am for all of the kind words. So, thank you. I may be done with Portal 1 facts, but if this video hits 2,000 likes, I'll make a Portal 2 fact video. Either way, if you made it this far, thank you for watching.